is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. Hope you're having a fabulous day today, and welcome back to another episode of Let 'Em Cook. This one we're going to be brewing up a really fun combo that I wanted to do a little bit of a two-parter, so you get two decks for the price of one, depending on which flavor you prefer. The first one right here, in particular, both of the decks are going to focus around the same particular combo right here with Arash. Because we want to be able to nuke Alice as much as possible. It's going to show up a heck of a lot. We want to have something to combat against the Alice shenanigans and just say, get the fuck off the field. So I wanted to make some decks that focused mainly around this particular level 2 right here. This 2/1/6/5 Arrow of All His Strength Arash. It has two effects. When this card attacks, if the character facing this is level 3 or higher, this gets plus 6,000 power till end of turn. So for one, he can get kind of sizable even without like most buffs or whatever. He can get over a lot of early play level 3s, which is kind of a significant thing to keep in mind. So he'll become a 12/5. At the end of this card's attack, if the salvage trigger right here, Stella, this one right here, is in your climax area, had to find it again, you can pay the cost, which is 3 stock and sacking him to the waiting room, which is very fitting for anyone who plays Grand Order. He dies after you use his Noble Phantasm in the game, just saying. If you do, put all level 2 or lower characters from your opponent's center stage into their waiting room. So what this essentially does is where the main Alice combo focuses on getting a whole bunch of level 2s out. At level 1, he makes it so you don't give a fuck because there's a level 0 right here. This 0/0 Arash Kamangir, I could be mispronouncing that, and if I am, I'm sorry. It's a 0/0/15. The first effect, we'll come back to the other effect later. When Stella is placed in your climax area and your level is 1 or higher, you can sack this to summon that level 2 Arash. No stock cost whatsoever. You just get to summon a level 2 at level 1 for free. So if your opponent goes ahead and puts up the Alice wall, Arash can come out swinging and go, okay, cool, I get to come out at level 1 as well, and I'm just going to nuke your entire fucking center stage. At which, if they try to save any of those, that just gets rid of, all of their stock. They can't really recover from that as easily as they want. Because the Alice is a twofold thing where it's both offensive and defensive. So, just saying. Yeah, just is really fun. It doesn't take that much. But so I wanted to make 2 different deck builds that kind of focus on this and like just nuking your opponent's board. So we have one here, which is 2 different salvage triggers, because there's 2 Bedivere cards that each have a combo with the switch on Argotane, and a standby variant focusing with the Lancelot cards, because there's a lot of good stuff for that as well. So let's talk about the main one, and I'll talk about a couple of the little differences and everything. So first off, we have this 3/2/9K Silver Knight of Violet Bedivere. Your waiting room has 2 or less climaxes. He gets minus a level in hand. He gets 1,000 power for each character in your opponent's backstage. So if they have 2, he's an 11K. And when this card is put on stage from your hand, you can discard a card to heal the top card of your clock to your stock. Just very nice early play, and it's a double rare for like stupidly cheap. And I would be remiss if we didn't include the king himself. First, Hassan Isaba, Old Man of the Mountain. Just saying the name is like, oh god, this is not going to end well. This 3/2/11K. If you have 1 or less characters in your backstage, he can't attack. Just keep that in mind. When this is placed on stage from hand, choose 1 character in your opponent's center stage, and it gets negative 4,500 power till end of turn. At the beginning of all players' attack phase, if this card is in the center stage, all players can't use Encore. How hilarious is that? To just make it so your opponent just can't use Encore. Like, you're able to get over their shit, and then they're like, oh, well, I'll just save it, and he goes, nah, foolish mortal, just, you're dead. So the other build that I have actually focused with the standby. I figured it'd be cool to be able to get him out earlier with that. That's kind of why I went with the standby route for another build, just because I figured it'd be fun to get the old man out. So then we have 4 copies of the 3/2/10K Return of the Sacred Sword Bedivere. If it's in your center stage, all of your other Chaldea and Camelot characters get 1,500 power. And at the end of this card's attack, if the salvage trigger, which we'll go ahead and show it right now, This one in particular, switch on Argatame, and the level 1 also combos off the same card. If it is in your climax area and you have another Chaldea or Camelot character, you can pay the cost, which is pay 4 stock and discard 2 cards. If you do, deal 3 damage to your opponent 2 times and then put this card into your memory. So it's just really cool. As long as you get like one of these out, that's pretty damn cool. Because the other level 3 Arash is able to get you a little bit of healing to stock, you're able to pay the cost for it fairly easily. So, and being able to being able to pay the 4 stock is not that difficult, I'm saying. So then that's it for the level 3s. To continue to the level 2s, 2175 Reality of the Sacred Lance Bedivere. When this is placed on stage from your hand, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 climax amongst them. Reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. If you put 1 card into your hand, you have to discard 1 card. So it's really cool to be able to filter and try to grab for the switch on to Argatame or the Stella, depending on if you need to nuke their board or whatever. And they're like, oh, I'm just going to try to build up Alice again, and you go, I'd like to see you try, and then shoot another fucking arrow to their kneecaps. We already talked about the Arash. Let's move on. Then we have Whereabouts of the Holy Grail Romani Archiman is a 2/1 2500 backup. When you use this card's backup, you can pay 2 and put 1 Chaldea or Camelot character from your hand into the waiting room. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters at the level higher than their level and put it on the bottom of their deck. So more anti-change hate, and we're going to see even more in a second here. Then we have, just to add a little bit more for the level 1s, I included 2 copies of Confrontation Against the Strong Lancelot. So 1/155, if you have 2 or more other Chaldea Camelot characters, it gains 2k power, and it has character encore, really good. We got 1 copy, just 1 copy of Setting Sun Bedivere. It's typically a 1500 backup, but I put it in here because it is also an anti-change reverser. When it becomes reversed, if the level is higher than the battle opponent, or if the level of the battle opponent is higher than your opponent's level, you can reverse that character. So even more just early play anti-change hate. You are set to just fuck them over in any capacity that you can. We got 2 copies of Great Hero of Persia Arash. I'm trying to speed through this as best I can because we have 2 different decks. It's a 1045 if you have 2 or more other Chaldea Camelot. It gains like 1000 power. And this is a clean cut. When the battle opponent becomes reversed, choose one of your other Camelot characters, rest it, and move it to an open position of your backstage. It's really funny that that's there, but that's whatever. Then we get to the Radiant Argatame Bedivere is a 104k. If you have 2 or more other Chaldea Camelot, gains 1000. On attack, if you have the salvage trigger in play, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your waiting room. Choose up to 1 level X or lower character, Chaldea or Camelot character. Return it to your hand, and this gets 2000 power until end of turn. X is equal to the total level of the cards put into your waiting room by this effect. So being able to salvage back like that's really nice. And he gets even bigger, so it becomes a 5k. He doesn't have to reverse, but you have the salvage, so that's a 6k. He becomes an 8k, just in general before anything else. Very nice. That is it for the level 1s. 1 copy of this free 2k backup, just figured I'd include it. This Ritska is a Journey for Somebody's Sake, just 1 copy. Then for the level 0s is Loyal Knight Bedivere. When this is placed on stage from hand, look at the top card of your deck, put it on the top of your deck or into your waiting room. And at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can mill the top card of your deck. If it's a Chaldea or Camelot, you can move this to an open position of your center stage. We heart mill runners. Then we have, because we have a lot of salvage triggers, we have Rewarded Feelings Hassan of the Serenity. It's a 002k. When your climax with a salvage trigger is placed in your climax area, choose 1 character in your opponent's center stage. It gets minus 1000 power until end of turn. Also, it has, when this card is placed on stage from hand, pay 1, pitch 1. If you do, salvage back a Chaldea or Camelot, and give one of your Chaldea or Camelots plus 1000 power till end of turn. 4 copies of the Arash. We already stated the early play thing, but it has a second effect of during your opponent's turn. When this becomes reversed, you can pay 1 stock to rest him for 1 turn, and at the beginning of your next encore step, he sacks himself anyway. So it's just a way to keep him around for a little bit if you need to wait just a moment to be able to get to keep him on the field for a moment to be able to early play the Arash. 2 copies of Girl of Poison Hassan of Serenity. She's just so cute. When this card is placed on stage from hand, choose one of your characters in your opponent's center stage, and it gets negative 1000 power till end of turn. So just negative 1000 power just to get over stuff is crazy. When this card becomes reversed in battle, you may reveal up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. If you revealed 1 or more cards, choose up to 1 Chaldea or Camelot character amongst them, put it into your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. Then you have to discard 1 card afterwards. Just neat little, like, little bit of just try to dig for more. Try to dig for your combo pieces and stuff. Lastly, we have two different Da Vinci cards here. We got 2 copies of Reason for the Good Mood Leonardo da Vinci. She is just awesome. 002K, when this is placed on stage from hand, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your waiting room. If there's a climax, you get to choose another character on your opponent's center stage, and it gets negative 1,000 power till end of turn. But she's also a climax swapper, depending on what you need whenever you need it. On play, pay 1, pitch a climax to salvage back a climax from waiting room. So get what you need and just go to town. Then we have Great Genius Leonardo da Vinci. Despite being a double rare, is not all that expensive. A lot of the Camelot double rares are kind of cheap, right? Is a 0/1000. At the beginning of your climax phase, choose one of your characters. That character gets plus 500 power till end of turn, just a little bit extra buff. And a brainstorm of pay 1, rest this card. Mill 4 for each climax revealed. You get to salvage back a character from your waiting room. 4 copies of Switch on Argotame and 4 copies of Stella. I can't yell it right now, otherwise it would blow your fucking eardrums out. So let's not do that. So that is basically the core, because it's a lot of the same repeating cards once you go over here, like the Leonardos, the Mill Runner, the backups and everything. So let's talk about the cards that are a little bit different, because we are running the standby instead for this. So Lancelot of the Light of the Lake. So let's talk about that one first. The level 3 Independent Knight Lancelot, if you go with this build, is going to have a 3/2/9K. If you have 2 or more other Chaldea Camelots, this gets 2K power, so he's constantly an 11. Heal 1 on play, can't go wrong there. When the standby is placed in your climax area, if this is in your center stage, choose up to 2 cards in your opponent's waiting room, return them to their deck. Your opponent shuffles their deck, and this card gets plus 2K power and plus 1 soul till end of turn. A little bit of decompression, not the worst in the world, but it's whatever. Also, he just gets really big to get over a lot of stuff, and the extra soul is kind of nice. One of the other major differences, we do have 2 copies of this one, just this particular Lancelot, just to kind of have, although you're going to be trying to stand by in the Arash at level 1 more than anything. But if you already have, like, say you already have the Arash in your hand or something, and you know you can do the combo, it doesn't matter. You could just go ahead and stand by in this Lancelot, because this is still very strong. So 2/2/6K. It gets 2,500 power for each character in your opponent's backstage, meaning it can get plus 5K and be an 11K total. So, and then it has a Chaldea Camelot Encore from hand. So being able to just get super buff, it's a typical good standby target in general. Let's see, what else was different? We also had 2 copies of this, because I took out the other Serenity since it wasn't 2 salvage triggers anymore. This one's still really good for a rare. Is when this is placed on stage from hand, you can pitch a card to reveal the top card of your deck. Choose a level X or lower character in your waiting room. Return it to your hand. X is equal to the level of the revealed card, so you get to salvage back stuff. And when this is put into your waiting room from the stage, you can pay 2 stock to salvage back a Chaldea or Camelot character from your waiting room to hand. So just a little bit extra, like if you need to pay out stuff, like you got climaxes stuck or whatever, it's just a neat little extra thing. Otherwise, it shares a lot of the same cards. Ratios are different. Obviously, we're running more of the King Hassan, because you can stand by this fucker out at level 2 and just go ahead and have him ready to go. It's just really crazy. So something you could do, you're probably not going to want to do this all the time. You can stand by him into the center stage, and then the no encore effect goes into play, because he would be in the center stage at the beginning of the attack phase. Just saying, you can put that effect into play, but that means you're only going to get 2 attacks off instead of 3, so do that at your own discretion, but it's a fun little option. Otherwise, like I said, it does share all the same stuff, and I will put both links for these decks in the description, depending on which flavor that you prefer, whether it's 8 salvage, because maybe you're tired of standby, or if you like some standby shenanigans, by all means, go for it. The big thing is that this is able to nuke Alice and take care of a lot of problems for very, very cheap. At least to me, it was pretty damn good. I thought this was just going to be a really fun deck, and it ended up being super duper fun to test out. Just once again, it's a Let 'em Cook episode, so it's more of a, hey, this is more of a concept and can be done. Should it be done? That's up for you to decide, but thank y'all very much for watching. And please like and subscribe if you want. If not, hey, thanks for stopping by to check out the Arash Stella shenanigans. May your arrows hit their target and nuke all Alices in your wake. And with that, we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.